Why does Microsoft hate Halo? Now, hate might sound like a pretty strong word, but when you look at Microsoft and 343, Halo Industries and how they treated Halo over the years, it starts to feel pretty accurate, not gonna lie. And Halo used to be the Xbox's crown jewel, like Master Chief was their mascot. But in the recent years, it seems like Microsoft has stopped caring, like in the fullest. So what happened exactly? So the Xbox 360 wasn't just a great console. It was the console of the generation, besides the PS3 and the Wii. It has some of the best games ever made, and none were bigger than Halo. Okay, maybe a few games were bigger than Halo, like Call of Duty, but that doesn't matter. So anyway, the Halo franchise was one of the biggest reasons why the Xbox 360 was sold. Whether it was the iconic Halo 3 multiplayer or the amazing story of Reach, and I love Reach. Everyone loved it, fans loved these games as well. But then, Bungie's contract to develop Halo games had ended, so they left Microsoft to continue the Master Chief journey, and Bungie went on to create Destiny after that by himself after being bought by Sony in 2022. So meanwhile, Microsoft had to figure out what to do with Halo, because they couldn't let their franchise just die, their biggest one. So they created 343 Industries to continue the Master Chief story, and this decision pretty much marked the downfall of Halo. So Microsoft gave 343 the task to make Halo 4 for the Xbox 360, which launched in 2012. Now the game wasn't terrible, but it didn't live up to the standards Bungie had set, and players criticized the multiplayer for trying to be, well, Call of Duty with all these features like loadouts and kill streaks, and it felt like a rip-off of Call of Duty rather than actually being a Halo game than what it was. And on top of that, the art style shifted to something more realistic, which some fans loved and some fans didn't love. And despite the criticism, Halo 4 was still pretty much a commercial success. But this was just the beginning of 343's struggles. Then came E3 2013, where Microsoft revealed the Xbox One. Fans were excited to see what the next generation of gaming would bring, but then Phil Spencer had to get on stage and decide to deliver one of the worst console reveals in gaming history. Instead of talking about games, which is the main selling point of any console at this point, and everyone should know that, Phil Spencer rambled about TV features, live channels, and how your Xbox One could control your cable box. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad, right? And the focus was just all wrong, it was all over the place, it was messy. And then came the price tag. $500. And meanwhile, after that, Sony revealed the PS4 for $400, and it was all about games. See the problem here? So when Halo 5 launched, it was supposed to bring the franchise back to its greatness, and it failed miserably. The story was universally hated for sidelining Master Chief and focusing on a new character, Spartan Loki, which you do see in Halo 2 Anniversary and Halo 2 in general. But fans wanted to see more of Chief's story and not a random new protagonist. Even the marketing for the game, it made it look like Master Chief's journey was finally going to end. They were going to get like a brand new character for the next Halo game. And it was all a complete lie. But the multiplayer was decent, but it couldn't hold against newer, more innovative games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. And Halo 5 didn't just disappoint the fans, it damaged the franchise's reputation by a lot. So by the time the Xbox Series X and S and the PS5 had launched in 2020, the sales were pretty even between the two until like a month later. PlayStation started dominating them in sales because of games like Spider-Man Miles Morales and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. And meanwhile, Xbox hadn't actually released a single game for the Xbox Series X and S on launch day, so they were struggling to keep up with them. So the Xbox Series X and S didn't actually release any games for exclusives because 343 Industries had delayed Halo Infinite 3 times, and is only released in 2021. And the reason why is because they spent half of their Halo Infinite's $500 million budget to make the Slipspace engine, instead of using a free engine like Unreal Engine for the Gears of War games. And Unreal Engine was a really proven and reliable game engine. And this decision really caused all these massive delays, and fans had to wait until 2021, and the game was an incomplete mess. The campaign was riddled with glitches and the multiplayer just lacked content. Basic features like Forge and co-op were also missing at launch, and the microtransactions were overpriced for everything on the shop. And while the core gameplay was actually pretty fun, the lack of content and all these bugs just killed Infinite's momentum very quickly. And pretty much in just a few days, the player base just plummeted all the way down. Even in 2025, Halo Infinite struggles to maintain a solid player base, while Halo the Master Chief Collection, a collection of older Halo games, almost has double the amount of players that Halo Infinite does, despite receiving almost no updates at all. So recently, 343 has rebranded as Halo Studios, and they had finally switched to Unreal Engine 5. Now on paper, this seems like a step in the right direction, but to many fans, including myself, it feels more of a desperate move to save the franchise. The lack of care Microsoft has now shown for Halo is very obvious now. I think everyone knows this at this point. For example, they rejected a proposal for a crossover between the Doomslayer and the Master Chief, and their simple response was nah. And this was such an amazing idea, because the person who proposed this spent an entire week crafting the pitch, and Microsoft didn't even bother with a polite rejection. They just dismissed it, saying nah. What's even worse about this is that this could have been a big moment for the Doom and the Halo franchise, because Microsoft owns Bethesda and Halo Studios, which means they obviously own Halo and then they own the Doom franchise. This could have been so profitable, and some people could have been like, I want to play this Halo game because Master Chief looks seriously cool in this episode, and they just said no. Even now, Microsoft is still getting leaks about older Halo games that Bungie has made in their own quote-unquote dig sites, making it more clear that they have no control over their own narrative surrounding the Halo franchise in general. Halo was once Xbox's and Microsoft's most valued game franchise ever, but over the years it's become clear that Microsoft does not prioritize it anymore. Whether it's just bad management, poor creative decisions, or just lack of respect to the fan base, Halo has suffered badly. So, does Microsoft really hate Halo? Maybe not intentionally in some ways, but their actions to the franchise does make it hard to believe otherwise. So while I was editing this, I just noticed that Xbox is now moving Halo MCC, the Master Chief Collection, to PS5 and Switch 2, which is a rumor, but if it does happen, it's actually going to be a very good thing for them, because now their franchise can go on other platforms, everyone can play the game now pretty much, and it'll be very beneficial. And this could be some very good news for Halo and Xbox. But now I'm starting to believe that this is more of Xbox's Sega moment, where Sega was losing against Nintendo, so they decided to stop making consoles and just make games. And this is what Xbox is doing, except they're focusing more probably on Game Pass, so that's why they're leaving the console market and just putting their games everywhere so it's accessible to everybody. I'd also really appreciate it if you guys would like and subscribe my video. It'll help me a ton, and I'll be able to pour out more content like this.